Good morning dear student. Today is demonstration class of the articulated hand. So this is the articulated hand. This articulated hand consists of the 8 carpal bone and 5 metacarpal bone and 14 phalangeal bone. So we will see this bone is one by one. Before that we will see the side determination of the articulated hand. The first point of the articulated hand, this carpal bone is facing proximally and these other phalanges is facing distally. And the second point, the articulated hand has two surface, the palmar surface, this is the palmar surface and this one is the dorsal surface. The palmar surface overall is the concavity. The concavity of the palmar surface are facing upward and you can say anteriorly, and the hook of hamate is projected on the palmar surface, and the convexity is facing inferiorly and the dorsally. And the third point is the lateral and the medial side. The laterally is lie the thumb. Laterally is lie the thumb having a two phalanges. This is the proximal phalange. This is the distal phalange. Remaining medial forefinger having a three phalanges. This is the proximal, middle and distal phalange. So the thumb is lie laterally, and this is the middle finger is lie medially. So on the basis of this point, this thumb is the left side, because of the thumb is lie laterally and the little finger is lie medially. The concavity on the palmar surface is facing upward and you can say anteriorly, and the hook of hamate is projected on the palmar surface and the convexity on the dorsal surface. So this hand is the left side. Now firstly we will see the carpal bone. They are the 8 in number. They are arranged in the two rows. The 4 in proximal row and 4 in distal row from lateral to medial side. The name of the bone in the proximal row from medial to lateral side. So this is the proximal row. This is the most lateral bone is the proximal row. This is the scaphoid, and medial to this is the lunate, and medial to it this is the triquetral. Above to this is the small bone, is the pisiform bone. Now move to the distal row, the most lateral bone on the distal row. So this is the trapezium. Medial to this is the trapezoid. Medial to it this is the capitate, and most medial bone into the distal row it is the hamate. Now we will see the identification point of the carpal bone. Well, firstly we will start with the proximal row from lateral to medial side. So this is the proximal row. The most lateral bone, this is the scaphoid. So this is the scaphoid. So this is the scaphoid bone. It is the board shaped bone. It presents a tubercle on the lateral side. So this is the tubercle of scaphoid. And medial to this, so this is the lunate. Lunate is the half moon shaped bone. So this is the, you can see this is the half moon shaped bone. This is the lunate. Medial to this is the triquetral. Triquetral is the somewhat base shaped bone, and it having the oval articular facet on the palmar surface. So this is the oval articular facet on the palmar surface for the articulation of the pisiform bone. So this is the triquetral, and above to this is the small bone. This small bone is the pisiform bone. It is the P-shaped bone. It presents oval articular facet on the dorsal surface. So this is the oval articular facet on the dorsal surface of the pisiform for the articulation of the triquetral. So this pisiform bone is the type of the sesamoid bone. It is developed in the tendon of flexor carpi ulnaris. Now bone into the distal row from medial to lateral. The most lateral bone is the trapezium. Trapezium is the quadrilateral bone. So this is the quadrilateral bone. It having the distal articular surface is a convex. It articulates with the base of the first metacarpal bone like this to form the first carpo-metacarpal joint. It is the sudden shape of the synovial joint. And trapezium having a groove on the palmar surface. So this is the palmar surface of the trapezium. It having a groove. You can see this is the groove. The lateral lip of the groove is the more prominent. So this is the more lateral lip. Lateral lip is the more prominent. So this more prominent lip is called as the crest of trapezium. This groove is loaded the tendon of the flexor carpi radialis. Medial to the trapezium, this bone is trapezoid. Trapezoid is the baby shoe shaped bone. This is the baby shoe shaped bone. It distally articulates with the base of the second metacarpal bone. So this is the trapezium. Medial to this is the capitate. Capitate is the largest carpal bone among the all carpal bone. So this is the capitate. Capitate has the head. So this is the head of the capitate. It will articulate with the scaphoid. This articulate with the scaphoid. And medial to this, the most medial bone of the distal row, this is the hamate. Hamate is the base shaped bone. It on the palmar surface it will present a hook-like projection. So this is the hook of the hamate. The hook of the hamate, and the distally the hamate is articulated with the base of the fourth and the fifth metacarpal bone. So this is the identification point of the carpal bone. So these are carpal bone together constitute to call the carpus bone. They form the concavity on the palmar surface and the four corner bone of the carpal bone to form the four pillar. Two pillar in the lateral side and two pillar in the medial side. The two pillar on the lateral side is formed by the tubercle of scaphoid. This is the tubercle of scaphoid and crest of the trapezium. So this is the crest of trapezium. And medial pillar is formed by the pisiform bone. This is the pisiform bone and the hook of the hamate. These four pillars increase the concavity on the palmar surface, and they give the attachment to the flexor retinaculum of the hand. So this is about the carpal bone. Now move to the metacarpal bone. Metacarpal bone are miniature long bone. They are 5 in number from lateral to medial. This is the first metacarpal bone, this is the second metacarpal bone, and this is the third metacarpal bone, and this is the fourth metacarpal bone, and this is the most medial bone is the fifth metacarpal bone. So they are the 5 in number from lateral to medial side. The metacarpal having a diaphysis and a single epiphysis. The epiphysis of the all metacarpal bone is located toward the head, except the first metacarpal bone. The epiphysis of the first metacarpal bone is located toward the base. So now the part of the metacarpal bone. Metacarpal consists of the three parts, and the head and the base and the shaft. The head is lie distally and the base is lie proximally between the base and the head. So this is the shaft. Now the head is the expanded antero-posteriorly and more expanded onto the palmar surface. So this is the head. The head is articulate with the base of the proximal phalanx. So this is the proximal phalanx, this is the base of the proximal phalanx, and this articulate with the head of the metacarpal bone. They will form the metacarpophalangeus joint. So this is the metacarpophalangeus joint. The head is slightly large than the base. The head is formed the knuckle of the hand. So this is the knuckle of the hand. It is formed by the head of the metacarpal bone. Now the shaft of the metacarpal. The shaft of the metacarpal is slightly concave onto the palmar surface, and the palmar surface of the shaft of the metacarpal is divided into two areas via this. This is the vertical ridge. So you can see this is the vertical ridge. This vertical ridge divides the palmar surface into anterolateral sloping area, anteromedial sloping area, and now move to the dorsal surface of the shaft of the metacarpal. So this is the dorsal surface of the shaft of the metacarpal. It presents a flat triangular area on the dorsal surface of the metacarpal of shaft. So the apex is toward the base. Such the triangular flattened area is not observed onto the dorsal surface of the first metacarpal bone. So this is the first metacarpal bone. Now move to the base. So this is the base. The base of the metacarpal is articulate with the distal row of the metacarpal bone. So you can see this is the base. It articulates with the proximal distal row of the metacarpal bone to form the carpometacarpal joint. Now going to the individual metacarpal bone and their identification point. So firstly, this is the most lateral bone is the first metacarpal bone. It is the shortest bone as compared to the other metacarpal bone. So on the palmar surface of the hand, it has the two tubercle. This is the medial and this is the lateral tubercle, is the large. And the base is a concavo. The base of the proximal surface is the convex. So this base of the proximal surface of the first metacarpal, it articulates with the distal surface of the trapezium. This is the trapezium, and it articulates like this to form the first carpometacarpal joint. Now the identification point of the second metacarpal bone. So this is the second metacarpal bone. It is the longest metacarpal bone. It having a groove on the proximal surface of the base. So this is the groove on the proximal surface of the base. So this groove, it fits the ridge of the trapezoid. Medial margin of this groove is the more prominent. This will articulate with the capitate like this. So this is the second metacarpal bone. Now the third metacarpal bone. So this is the third metacarpal bone. The third metacarpal bone having a stelloid passage. It presents a stelloid passage which are projected into the proximally onto the radial side of the dorsal surface of base of the third metacarpal bone. So this is the stelloid process of the third metacarpal bone. It projects proximally. So this is the third metacarpal bone. Now move to the another bone of the metacarpal. This is the fourth metacarpal bone. The fourth metacarpal bone, the base of the fourth metacarpal, the base of the proximal surface of the fourth metacarpal bone is a quadrilateral in shape. So this is the quadrilateral in shape. It will articulate with the hamate, the proximal distal surface of the hamate. It will articulate with the distal surface of the hamate, and medially it will articulate with the base of the fifth metacarpal bone, and laterally is articulate with the base of the third metacarpal bone. And the most medial bone is the fifth metacarpal bone. This is the fifth metacarpal bone. It articulate with the proximal surface of the fifth metacarpal bone. It articulate with the hamate. The non-articulate surface, non-articulate tubercle on the medial side of the base, and it laterally it articulate the base of the fifth metacarpal bone laterally articulate with the base of the fourth metacarpal bone. So this is all about the metacarpal bone. Now move to the phalanges. Each phalange is a miniature long bone. They are 14 in number. The 3 for each medial finger and the 2 for thumb. In the medial forefinger is having a proximal phalanges, middle phalanges and the distal phalanges. In the thumb having a proximal and distal phalanges. Now the part of the phalanges consist of the head, the base and the shaft. The base of the proximal phalanges is concave and articulate with the head of the metacarpal bone to form the metacarpophalangeal joint. The head of the proximal phalanges is articulate with the base of the middle phalanges to form the interphalangeal joint. Now the head of the middle phalanges articulate with the base of the distal phalanges to form the interphalangeal joint, distal interphalangeal joint. Now the shaft of the interphalanges is having a palmar surface and the dorsal surface. The dorsal surface is smooth and transversely is the convex. The dorsal surface of the proximal and the middle phalanges is covered by the dorsal digital expansion. The palmar surface is gently concave above downward. So this is the palmar surface, is concave above downward. The palmar surface on the head of the distal phalanges on the palmar surface having the, so this is the distal phalanges. The head on the distal phalanges on the palmar surface is the tuberosity for the attachment of the pulp of the fingertips. On the dorsal surface of the head of the distal phalanges is smooth, is covered by the fingernail. Thank you. Now the joint of the articulated hand. The articulation between the carpal bone in the proximal row and the distal row. This is the intercarpal joint. The articulation between the proximal and the distal row of the carpal bone. This is the midcarpal joint. The intercarpal joint and the midcarpal joint is the plain type of the synovial joint. Now, articulation between the proximal surface of the base of metacarpal and the distal row of the carpal bone, it forms the carpo-metacarpal joint. So this is the first carpo-metacarpal joint, this is the second carpo-metacarpal joint, this is the third carpo-metacarpal joint, this is the fifth carpo-metacarpal joint, fourth, and this is the fifth carpo-metacarpal joint. The first carpo-metacarpal joint is formed by the proximal surface, the articulation between the proximal surface of base of first metacarpal and the distal articular surface of the trapezium to form the first carpo-metacarpal joint. This is the saddle type of the synovial joint. Now the intercarpal metacarpal joint. That is the articulation between the base of the second to fifth metacarpal. These are the intermetacarpal joint. Now the metacarpophalangeal joint. These are the metacarpophalangeal joint is formed by the articulation between the head of the metacarpal and the base of the proximal phalanges. So this is the metacarpophalangeal joint. It is the ellipsoid type of the synovial joint. Now the interphalangeal joint. The interphalangeal joint, the thumb is goted the single interphalangeal joint. So this is the interphalangeal joint. The medial forefinger is goted the two interphalangeal joint, is the proximal interphalangeal joint and the distal interphalangeal joint. The proximal interphalangeal joint is formed by the articulation between the head of the proximal phalanges and the base of the middle phalanges. So this is the proximal interphalangeal joint. The distal interphalangeal joint is formed by the articulation between the head of the middle phalanges and the base of the distal phalanges. It forms the distal interphalangeal joint. It is the hinge type of the synovial joint. This is all about the joint of the articulated hand. Now the attachment on the palmar surface. So this is the palmar surface of the articulated hand. Now firstly the attachment on the flexor retinaculum. The flexor retinaculum is laterally attached to the tubercle of scaphoid over here and the crest of the trapezium over here, and the medially is attached to the pisiform bone over here and the hook of the hamate here. This flexor retinaculum converts this concavity of the carpal bone into the carpal tunnel. The some structure is passing deep to the flexor retinaculum and some structure superficial to the flexor retinaculum to enter into the palm. Now the attachment of the thenar muscle. Firstly, the abductor pollicis brevis, it take the origin from the tubercle of the scaphoid over here and the trapezium over here. Now the origin of the flexor pollicis brevis, it take the origin from the crest of the trapezium adjoining the trapezoid over here and the capitate bone. The opponens pollicis take the origin from crest of the trapezium over here and to insert into the lateral part of the palmar surface of the shaft of first metacarpal bone over here. The abductor pollicis is take the origin from the longitudinal groove on the palmar surface of the third metacarpal bone of the shaft and adjoining the and also it arise from the base of the second over here and the third metacarpal bone from and adjoining part of the trapezoid and the capitate bone over here. And now the attachment of the hypothalamus. The first, the abductor digiti minimi, it arises from the pisiform bone over here, and the flexor digiti minimi and opponens digiti minimi, they both are take the origin from the hook of the hamate over here. Now the attachment of the long tendon of the flexor muscle of the forearm. The tendon of flexor carpi radialis is inserted onto the base of second and the third metacarpal bone over here, and the tendon of flexor carpi ulnaris insert onto the pisiform bone. This is the pisiform bone. Here the insertion of the flexor carpi ulnaris. The tendon of the flexor digitorum profundus are inserted onto the palmar surface of base of distal phalanges for the medial forefinger over here. Now the attachment of the tendon of flexor digitorum superficialis. The tendon of the flexor digitorum superficialis are inserted onto the side of the shaft of the middle phalanges on the foremedial finger over here. Attachment of the dorsum surface of the articulated hand. So this is the dorsal surface of articulated hand. So firstly, we know the orientation of this hand. This is the lateral side. Is the first metacarpal. This is the first metacarpal. So this is the medial side. This is the fifth metacarpal. Now the attachment of the long tendon of the extensor muscle of the forearm. Firstly, the attachment of the tendon of flexor carpi radialis longus to insert onto the dorsal surface of the base of the second metacarpal bone over here, and the tendon of the extensor carpi radialis brevis insert onto the base of the second and the third metacarpal bone over here. Now the tendon of the extensor carpi ulnaris are inserted onto the medial side of the base of fifth metacarpal bone over here. Now the tendon of abductor pollicis longus are inserted onto the radial side on the base of first metacarpal bone over here. Now the tendon of extensor pollicis longus are inserted onto the base of the distal phalanx of the thumb over here. Now the tendon of extensor pollicis brevis are inserted on the base of proximal phalanx of the thumb over here. Ossification of the bone of articulated hand. Firstly, the ossification of the carpal bone. The carpal bone are ossified after the birth by the one ossification center. Firstly, the capitate and the hamate which appear. So this is the capitate and this is the hamate which appear in the 1 year, and this is the tricutal which appear in the 3 year, and this is the lunate is appear into the 4th year, and the scaphoid is appear in the 5 year, and this is the trapezium is appear into 6 year, and the trapezoid is appear in the 7 year. Now this is the smallest bone is the pisiform is appear in the 9 to 12 year. It is the type of the sesamoid bone. It is developed the tendon of flexor carpi ulnaris. This is about the ossification of the carpal bone. Now the ossification of the metacarpal bone. So these are the 5 metacarpal. The metacarpal are ossified one primary center and the one secondary center. The one primary center for the shaft is appear into the 9 week of intrauterine life. The secondary center for the head of the second to 5th metacarpal, and for the base of first metacarpal is appear about second year. Now the ossification of the phalanges. The phalanges are ossified by the one primary center for the shaft and one secondary center for the base. The one primary center for the shaft of the distal phalanges is appear 8 week of intrauterine life, and the shaft, the one primary center of the shaft of the proximal phalanges appear in 10 week of intrauterine life, and the shaft of middle phalanges appear in the 11 week of intrauterine life. Now the secondary center for the base of all phalanges is about appear the second year. Now the clinical applied of the articulated hand. The scaphoid fracture is the most common carpal fracture. The scaphoid fracture is occur due to fall of outstretched hand. This may lead to the avascular necrosis in the proximal fragment. This is the proximal fragment. This is the distal segment of the scaphoid bone. The avascular necrosis occur due to the interrupted blood supply. The blood supply of the scaphoid is mostly derived from the distal part of the scaphoid bone. Now the fracture of the lunate is the uncommon. The forward dislocation is the lunate is the common. The lead to the carpal tunnel syndrome. There is a compression of the median nerve. The median nerve is passing through the carpal tunnel over here. So this is the clinical applied of the articulated hand. Thank you.